a big applause to Dee King.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. So, did you know that we all started life as a bright, golden, shining star? And we were all connected to time and space. Did you know that? And we were actually oozing with divine love, completely celestial beings. And then we came down to earth and we were born. And guess what? We created thoughts and feelings. And our thoughts and feelings became a barrier between ourselves and our true selves. And we were born into this world where it's all about learning and reading books and getting an education. So we went to school and we learned and we worked hard. Do you know what? In primary schools in the UK, it's possible at the age of 4 to be sitting daydreaming, looking out the window, and you end up in the special needs department for the whole of primary school until the age of 10 and a half. That's what happened to my son. He's now got a first-class degree, but he was actually relegated as educationally subnormal because he was using his imagination. So then we grow into adults and we have a very fixed structure in our lives where we like to keep all our relationships and our finances under control, and we like to hide from the world that we're feeling vulnerable, and we like to pretend to ourselves, in fact we even believe it, that we're great, and we like to hide from the world that we're not really good enough, and deep down maybe we feel that we aren't. So what is this ridiculous game we're all playing? What's it all about? Why do we have all this pretense in our lives? Well, this game is called staying safe. And it's called not stepping into the unknown. Because if you were to step into the unknown, you never really know what's going to happen. So that's all right, but what happens when stuff goes wrong? What happens when your marriage is on the rocks? What happens when your business is about to go bankrupt? What happens when one of your children is really, really ill and actually is close to death? Well, you could just run away and go and live in a shack in the Outer Hebrides and decide that you just can't cope with your life. Or you actually have to step into the unknown. And you have to face a lot of challenges with a lot of fear in your heart. And that was me 8 years ago. I faced all 3 of those scenarios. I was in a marriage where it was revolving around my husband's really long working hours and my 4 children's needs. And then our daughter got schizophrenia, and she then got anorexia. And her voices were actually telling her to stop eating and stop drinking. So we were in a really difficult place. But I'm pleased to say, fast forward 8 years, she's still alive, and she's actually now writing screenplays and following her vision and learning really just to be joyful and follow her dreams. She's still got schizophrenia, but she's learning how to live a different level of life, and she's really happy. And I'm now a solo entrepreneur, and I'm working, as well as my photography that I've taken up in the last 12 years, I'm now a colour therapist, and I'm working with colour energy, which is really powerful stuff. And it's actually possible to release people from their structures that they have set in their lives when they fall into difficulties and blocks with this wonderful colour bottles that I work with. But I wanted to tell you what the moral to all this story is. And Joseph Campbell put that really well in the words in The Hero's Journey, where he said, you have to follow your bliss, and then the universe will open doors where there were only walls. And I would recommend this. I'd recommend that, stepping into the unknown, because that really is where the magic happens. Thank you very much.
Well done, well done. And may I must add that this is the first time ever since I've been a member, I don't know if it's happened before, that a non-member comes here and speaks, takes the 5-minute slot. So Dee's not a member. She put her name forward because, like Anik, she sometimes comes up with unexpected things. She invited non-members. She sent out an email to see who wanted to take that spot. Dee put her name forward, and she's here tonight.
Very lucky.
Yes. And I also, I'm so glad you told this story, that coming out and stepping out of your zone. And I asked Dee before, I asked her, listen, what makes you laugh out loud? And her answer was her children. So I love that too about you. So now back to the judges and their feedback.
Yeah, okay.
Nick, I'll choose.
Thank you again for that like beautiful imagery that you used there, and the one of the main things I wrote down was the great visceral examples. Like everything was tugging at every sort of heartstring, and I love all of that. So that I really enjoyed. I wrote down it was a little bit disjointed as on a whole, but then I kind of grew to like that because I didn't know what you were going to say next, and I was like, oh, what's gonna? And I think that style fit the content very well because it is this creative world that you're talking about, and so I quite like that. Again, slight volume up a little bit, which is obviously very common, but I liked it. I liked it a lot.
Okay, so for me, again, it was a lovely story, and thank you for sharing that with us. You made some great connections, not only with me, but I think with the whole audience, about some of the experiences that you've been through and how they've been able to take that and use that to follow your own path in life. One thing for me was there was quite a lot of hand clasping. So that's a sign of nerves. And again, I appreciate that this is potentially your early stages of your speaking career. But think about what else you can do with your hands so that you don't give the impression of the hand. This is quite exaggerated, the hand clasping. You also have a beautiful smile, so use that more as well.
Thank you.
Okay.
Due to time, I'll give you feedback another time.
Oh.
Okay.